Hello, my name is Liam, and I'm going to be introducing you to Arcadia today. So that begins here in Utopia, which is our central hub, sort of the city in the middle of the world. This is where you can meet and hang out with people, you chat, socialize, and discover many of the experiences that we have in the game. You can do that all here. I can also go into the Everywhere menu by hitting Escape, and you can change your look here. You can chat and socialize in social. Today, we're going to be focusing mainly on Play and Build Arcadia. So Play Arcadia in here is where you just you can browse through all of our user-generated content, and in Build Arcadia, that's where you can make it. So Arc is our term for our sort of built space. Anything you make will start in an arc and is an arc. We also have stamps. Stamps are prefabricated chunks of content that you can share with others and place in your arc and use. And that can be as small as a doorknob. It can be an entire level. It can be a cool mechanic like a platform that moves. It can be anything, and you can share it. We'll go into more detail about that in a little bit. If I were to go into my arcs, you can see I've got a bunch of arcs I've already worked on. As a first timer, you would create a new arc, and that's what we're going to do right now. So this will drop you into a big empty space. Right away, I like to toggle the floor on, just as a good point of reference. And I also am going to turn off the fog for the moment. I'm probably going to, knowing myself, I'm going to turn it back on later. I like the fog, but for building right away, I just want you guys to see clearly what we're doing. So here in assets, this is our asset catalog. It's where all of our stuff is. Vehicles, foliage and stuff, and natural effects like, particle effects. Packs are basic building blocks, templates, stamps I mentioned earlier. All of it is here. If I go to packs, you can see that this is our basic building blocks are split by sort of theme. If I go to canyon, you can see that's further split by subtype. I go to blocks. Here you go. You got a bunch of canyon themed blocks. I can drag one instance of one of them in like that. I can also click on it, and I can go into a paint placement mode, and that is good for stuff like foliage. If I click one of these, the gizmo pops up, so I can move it along these axes easily. If I go into rotate mode, I can rotate. It's doing so in a 45-degree interval at the moment. You can turn that off. You can rotate freely. I can also go into scale it way up. That's maybe a bit too much. Scale things a bit smoother. And what I can also do is if I click one or group select by box selecting all of those, I can right click on any one or multiple items and the context menu comes up. I can duplicate them here, delete all of them. I can group them. So what this is now a unique geometry that I can edit as a single thing, scale it all down. If I wanted to though, I can go back into individual selection mode, click just one asset in a group. I can edit that asset back into group mode. This is still grouped, and that can be very, very useful when you have big groups and you want to change little things in them. I also have a snapping mode up here. So if this is in grid snapping right now, turn the grid on, you can see the grid here projected onto the arc. It's moving along grid increments that I can size up to move along larger grid increments. I normally have that turned off. I do often use item snapping though. So if I hold Alt and drag an asset out, you can duplicate it that way. And these snap together. All of our assets have snapping and pivot points baked into them, and that can be useful for building like floors or walls or whatever. So let's get rid of those. I mentioned stamps earlier. We have some barb created stamps here, like an island stamps. I know we have giant kind of floating islands that are very good. Just drag one of those into the arc, much like I did in asset. And you can see this is just pre-made, ready to go. If I control U, get rid of that, control U, I can ungroup it, and now I can kind of tinker with the pieces inside it. So I'm going to use one of these cheekily as my starting point for whatever we're going to build. So right away, I know I want to start here. I'm going to go this way. We're going to get rid of some of the stuff in this stamp. And maybe go into individual selection mode again, and I'm going to drag some of these floor bits out. And I want to create like a ramp that goes down into the water. And I'm going to create a giant water plane, I think, later, and turn this floating sky sort of island into a more classic type of island. I also tend to put a spawn point in right away. I'm going to put an entry spawn in. And this is helpful for when I test the arc. I start where I intend the player to start. Okay, so boom, that's our starting point. So that was a barb template that I've edited there. I can also go into stamps, and this is where anybody who's anybody has made a stamp public. I can find it here. So I know that my buddy Duncan has made a like laser spinner kind of thing. It's right here. So I just drag one of those into the arc, and this is ready to go. There's two of them. He's nice enough to put two, like a vertical one and a horizontal one. I just want the horizontal one. So I individual selection mode, deleted the vertical one there. And now I still have this all grouped. I can just drag this laser thing into position. So it's going to be like that. You can see this is meant to be on water. It's got this cool wake effect behind it. And it also has a bunch of logic already baked into this. There's damage volumes around the lasers, so if they hit you, they kill you. And this is an on start node linked to two rotate nodes that are telling each other to rotate when finished. Both of those linked to the spinner at large. Basically, the spinner just keeps spinning round and round and round. We'll do a bit of our own logic building in a little while. First of all, though, this needs to be on water for it to make sense. We're going to contextualize the laser. So, water volume. I can scale these up massively. We're going to want a lot of water. And we're going to put that. I want this to be a little lower than that. It's too much. Probably about there. Yeah, a little bit lower. Perfect. Yeah, okay, that's just right. And we are going to use, I think, just to be lazy, I'm going to use the same Sky Island stamp thing from earlier. It's going to be there. This rock is clearly in the way of my laser, so let's just get rid of it. Oh, back out of that. Get rid of the rock. Get rid of the rock. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. We don't need you here. Okay, and now same as before, this stamp I want to path my way through it, so I'm going to just get rid of some of this junk that's in here. Sorry to whoever made it. And let's get the same thing going on, just a bit of this path. I'm going to rotate this down. Boom. So we go here. What I need now is a way to get through these lasers. So this is a big rock here. I'm going to drag one of those out. Again, drag one of these out, scale it way down, and these are just going to be like little islands that I can jump across. It's going to start here, so I jump off the ramp that I've made, and we're just going to have a couple of these in here, nothing too fancy, just like that. I'm going to rotate some of them, just to break that up a bit, make them look different. Perfect. Okay, and then we get to this island, and I want there to be some kind of goal, so I'm going to go into static effects. Instead of this dome thing, I'm going to put a blue beam thin here, and I'm going to duplicate this a bunch of times and make this go up really high into the sky. Very cool. So this is where we're going, and when I get here, I mentioned logic earlier, I want something to happen. Also, this beam's going to look way better at night, so let's make it nighttime. Look at that. You can see it from far away now. And I mentioned the fog. You gotta have some fog. I love fog. Turn up the opacity so I don't see any of that horizon line, and make it more dense so you get some nice glow from our skybox, and the beam is more visible. Great. Okay, so when I get here, I want something to happen. So I'm gonna walk into the beam and fill in the blank. Box trigger volume. So this is a space in which my entry or even my exit can trigger subsequent logic. So put that right there in the beam. Go into logic nodes. And let's go on-off node. I'm going to turn a light on. Very simple. You can get so complex with logic. This is the most simple thing you could do, basically. So let's go make this blue like the laser. And we're going to turn it off. So right away, what we can do is I can select two things, and I can link them using this logic linking panel. On enter activate, and that's just options between those two selected items that you could link from. I could also click on this node from the on-off node, the nodule rather, from the on-off node, and go to the relevant on-off nodule for this light. So these are now speaking to each other as well. So two ways of linking there. And let's put the light in the beam. That's where we want it. Okay, last thing, I think I'm gonna get some bad guys in here, so we have a challenge other than just jumping. So if I go to NPCs, I can drag Exile into here. This is just sort of ready to go bad guy. I can change his faction and make him friendly if I wanted to, but I want him to be an enemy. he's got a pistol right now, sickle. I'm going to give this one an SP1, so you can change their guns to be another SP1 over here, maybe even another one. 4 baddies to go through. I'm going to need a gun if I want to have any chance of getting through them. So I'm going to go pickups, weapon, and let's give myself a dome scope. This is like a sniper rifle. Being a bit cheeky doing that. It's a very good gun. It's a bit dark. I love the laser, but there's not enough light here. So so in grassland, I know there's we're gonna make like a street lamp kind of thing. Just very rough and ready, easy peasy, ready to go lamp source of light here. So let's get a few of those. Sorry, back in architecture, we want this pipe, this curved one. I can turn the flashlight on, holding Control F. That just makes building in the dark a bit more easy. And then if I keep it in world space, I can rotate that. Let's turn 45-degree interval on. I want this to be exactly 90 degrees. Get that snapped, perfect. And then I go back into effects, lights, point light, same point light I've been using. And this one I'm gonna put right in there, and just really just kind of fake a light. Obviously that's just a pipe, but if I up the range, it'll light up a nice big area. Okay, so boom. What we're gonna do now is group select those, just get all that stuff. Individually select all this, Control G, and this is a group now. I'm gonna scale this down. I like to build things in their default sizes and then scale them if I need, because it's easier to do so. And this is our light source in the level. Boom. One over here. The lasers light up the middle bit just fine, so I don't need anything there. And then a couple more here. You know, just easy peasy, just lighten the space up. Let's go, let's redo that spin. One over here, perfect. Okay, and now we can jump into play mode and we can see how this feels. So you can very quickly test an arc out. See, I put my entry spawn here, so I'm where I need to be. Oh, I already have the dome scope. Okay, forgot about that. So if I didn't have it, I would have picked it up there, and you can press E, you go into your backpack, and you can use it. So you can see these things are spinning, and they will just keep spinning. This jump I've made a bit crazy, but it's okay. I just made it with the triple jump. Okay, I don't want to get hit by one of these lasers. It will incinerate me. Yeah. So this is so far so good. Some of those jump distances I can change, but that's the beauty of how quickly you can jump in and out of play mode. Is that if you realize something's wrong or see that laser, I think you touch that rock there, I can just jump out and change that. Okay, bad guys. So he's got the SMG. He's switching the pistol at me. Sorry about your friends. Okay, so that wasn't too hard to dispatch of them. And of course my logic interaction here, boom. That's the end. And that could be me triggering a door opening, a big thing. There could be music that plays. I mean, there's so much more I can do with the logic. But that's it. That's very quickly using some stamps and some of my own building. I've created a whole new thing. And what I can do now is publish it. So if I click here, you need a thumbnail for your arc. So something descriptive and moody like that. Change the name like Liam Makes Thing. Or let's make it cooler. Liam Island Shooter. Get there is my description. You want to get there. And I publish. Liam Island Shooter V1. So what this will do is make this public, and if myself or friend or whoever I promoted the game to, or whoever wants to play it, can search for it, which we will do now by exiting back to Utopia, where we started this adventure. They can search for your content. So I go play Arcadia, browse, Liam Island Shooter should be there. There it is. So I could play it, I could share it with friends, they can play it. I could have made that whole level a stamp and then they could add on to it. The possibilities are endless. So we're really trying to promote sort of a remix culture thing in the game. We want there to be collaborative building. We want you to make something and then your friend makes it better and then you make it better again. And we want you guys really to explore the tool, and that's what we're doing here. Is we want to see what you guys make, how you use it. We want your feedback. We just want to make something that helps you make cool stuff, and we want to see what cool stuff you make. So I personally, as somebody who makes stuff all day, I'm really excited to see what you guys do. I'm really excited to see what you make, and we're looking forward to it. So get out there, make some cool stuff, have some fun, and thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Time for a new world. Let's build it together.